For 20 years, LeBron James's favorite waitress saved every single tip he ever gave her. What she did with that money is a story you'll never forget.
For 2 decades, a quiet act of loyalty unfolded behind the scenes of LeBron James's favorite restaurant. His go-to waitress, known for her warm smile and unmatched service, had been saving every single tip he ever gave her, penny by penny, year after year. But this wasn't just about money, it was about a plan, a dream, and a purpose she kept hidden all this time. Now the incredible truth about what she did with that small fortune has finally come to light, and it's a story that will leave you absolutely amazed. The last quiet meal. The air inside Ruby's diner was warm and faintly sweet with the scent of pies cooling in the kitchen. Outside, Akron's streets glistened with the reflection of streetlights on rain-slick pavement. It was nearly midnight, and the place was almost empty, just the low hum of the refrigerator, the occasional clink of cutlery, and the soft crackle of an old jukebox playing in the corner. In the far booth by the window sat LeBron James, still in his team hoodie, a basketball cap pulled low. It had been his final home game before a big career move, but his expression wasn't celebratory. There was no entourage, no cameras, just a man who had grown up in this city, now taking a moment to breathe. Marianne Rivera approached with her usual warm smile, her curly hair tied back, a faded name tag reading Marianne. In her mid-30s, she could hide exhaustion behind kindness. She set down his post-game order, grilled chicken, sweet potatoes, lemonade. "Evening, LeBron," she said softly. "Rough night?" He smiled faintly. "Something like that." They chatted about the weather, the city's quiet, and how Ruby's had outlasted them both. But as she refilled his glass, he caught a heaviness in her eyes, one that had nothing to do with working late. "You okay?" he asked, leaning forward. "You seem tired, not just shift tired." She hesitated, fingers tightening around the coffee pot. "It's nothing really, just life. Always something to worry about when you're raising a kid on your own." He remembered her mentioning her son once before. "How's he doing?" That brought a light to her face. "Eli's great, 16 now, straight A's. Wants to be a medical doctor or an engineer. Says he's going to build bridges and design buildings one day." She laughed softly, but there was a catch in her voice. "That's impressive. You must be proud," LeBron said. "I am, more than anything." She glanced around, then lowered her voice. "Can I tell you something?" He nodded. "I've been saving every tip I've earned for 12 years, every single dollar, in this old coffee tin at home. It's for Eli's college. I work doubles, take extra shifts, whatever it takes. Right now, it's a little over $22,000. Not enough for the whole thing, but it's a start." LeBron looked at her for a long moment, something shifting in his expression. When he finished his meal, he reached into his wallet and placed a few bills on the table, more than enough to cover the check. "Put this in the tin," he said simply. Marianne blinked, speechless. "LeBron, this is," he smiled, "for Eli." Then he stood, nodded goodbye, and stepped out into the rainy Akron night, leaving her staring at the folded bills as if they were more than just money, as if they were possibility. Marianne would remember that night for years, but what she didn't know was that the moment wouldn't stay between them. It had already begun its quiet journey into the world, one that would travel farther than either of them could imagine, and where it landed next, well, you'll want to see for yourself. The social media discovery. It didn't happen overnight. First, it was a whispered story between friends, then a shared photo at the diner, and eventually it found its way online. That's where it landed, right into the scrolling hands of LeBron James. The cabin lights were dim, the low murmur of passengers blending with the steady hum of the jet. LeBron sat in first class, en route to Los Angeles for his next NBA game. Between reviewing production notes, he idly scrolled through Instagram. His feed was the usual mix: basketball clips, family updates, community projects, until one photo stopped him. A young man in a navy blue graduation gown grinned before a university banner, cap tilted. The caption read, "From Ruby's Diner Kid to Dr. Elijah Rivera. Especially my mom, who worked more hours than I can count." LeBron froze at the name, Rivera. A memory surfaced. The quiet Akron diner, the rainy night, the waitress with the tired smile and coffee tin, Eli, the boy who dreamed of building bridges, Curiosity took over. He tapped on the profile. As he scrolled, the story unfolded through snapshots. Eli in college, then in medical school, then standing in front of a small brick building in Cleveland with a stenciled sign above the door, Cleveland Community Health Clinic. In the caption, he wrote about serving neighborhoods that lacked affordable health care, about the privilege and responsibility of giving back. LeBron smiled. This was exactly the kind of success story that made the sacrifices worth it. But as he kept scrolling, the tone shifted. One post from 6 months ago caught his attention. A simple picture of Marianne, now in her early 50s, sitting in a modest kitchen with a cup of tea. The caption read, "Mom has been hiding her arthritis pain for months. She's been skipping doctor visits and avoiding treatment because she says every extra dollar should go toward my medical school loans. She worked herself to the bone for me, and now I'm trying to work it off for her. We'll get through it, but it's hard watching the strongest person you know struggle." LeBron felt a knot tighten in his chest. The image of Marianne from that night years ago, strong but tired, still smiling through the weight of her own burdens, played in his mind. She had been in her mid-30s then, pulling double shifts. Now, 2 decades later, she was still working, still giving everything to her son, and still putting herself last. He kept scrolling, no signs of luxury, just photos of Eli at work, family dinners, and Marianne at the diner with co-workers. She hadn't changed much, the same warm smile, the same steady posture. But now there was a stiffness in her hands, a slight hunch in her shoulders, the wear of years without rest. LeBron set his phone down, thinking of his own mother, Gloria, and the sacrifices she'd made in Akron. Every win in his life was built on her unshakable belief. He thought of Marianne's coffee tin, not just money, but hope. The seatbelt sign pinged as turbulence rattled the plane, but he barely noticed. His mind was already working. He could send a message, sure, but this wasn't for social media. It needed to be face-to-face. He opened his contacts and tapped his longtime assistant, Mateo's number. The line clicked, and without hesitation, LeBron said, "We need to set something up." "Hey, boss, everything good? I need you to find someone for me," LeBron said, his voice low but urgent. "Her name's Marianne Rivera. She's from Akron, but she might be in Cleveland now. She's a waitress, probably still working at a small diner or family restaurant. Don't care how long it takes, I need to see her." There was a brief pause. "Got it. Any idea why?" LeBron looked out the airplane window into the dark expanse below. Because some people never stop giving, and it's about time someone gave back. But after all these years, would she even remember the man whose life she once changed? Let's find out. Reunion at the corner booth. The small bell above the door jingled as LeBron stepped into Harper's Family Grill, a cozy Cleveland restaurant that smelled faintly of frying onions and brewed coffee. It was the kind of place where regulars knew each other's orders by heart and where time seemed to move just a little slower. He scanned the room, his eyes searching for a face he hadn't seen in years. Near the back, wiping down a booth, was a woman with familiar dark curls now threaded with silver. She moved more slowly than he remembered, her right hand favoring the left as if stiffness had set in. But the smile she gave a departing couple was the same warm, genuine smile he had seen across countless late-night meals in Akron. That's her. For a moment, he just watched her work, flashes of memory pulling him back. The rainy night at Ruby's diner, the grilled chicken and lemonade, the quiet conversation about her son's dreams, and of course, the coffee tin. When she turned and noticed him, the rag in her hand froze mid-wipe. Her eyes widened and her mouth opened slightly in disbelief. "LeBron?" she said, almost as if she wasn't sure she trusted her own sight. He grinned. "Hi, Marianne. Been a while." She laughed nervously, glancing around as though the presence of one of the most famous athletes in the world in her restaurant might disrupt the natural order of the place. Wow, I didn't think you'd remember me. It's been, 20 years?" "Something like that," he said, stepping closer. "But I never forgot you." Her expression softened, though there was still a flicker of self-consciousness as she glanced down at her simple uniform. "What brings you here?" "I was hoping we could catch up. You have a few minutes?" She glanced toward the kitchen. The manager, clearly curious, peeked out and raised an eyebrow before nodding her approval. Marianne slid into the booth she'd just finished cleaning, and LeBron took the seat across from her. They started with small talk, the weather, the changes in Akron, how long she'd been in Cleveland, but soon, the conversation drifted deeper. He asked about Eli, and her face lit up. "He's doing amazing," she said proudly. "He's a doctor now, working at a community clinic here in the city. Doesn't make much, but he says he's right where he's meant to be." LeBron nodded. "I've seen his work, and I saw something else. About your health." Her smile faltered, and she looked down at her hands. "It's just arthritis. I manage." "You've been avoiding treatment to help with his loans, haven't you?" he asked gently. Marianne hesitated before nodding. "He's already buried under debt. I don't want to add to his worries." For a moment, LeBron didn't speak. Then he leaned forward. "Do you still have it? The coffee tin?" A small smile tugged at her lips. "I do. Empty now, but I kept it. Couldn't bring myself to throw it away. Too many memories in that tin." LeBron sat back, studying her. "Good, because I want to fill it again." Her brow furrowed. "LeBron?" He held up a hand. "But this time not just for Eli. I'm talking bigger. For more kids, more dreams. What did you start in that tin all those years ago? I think it's time it became something the whole community can share in." She stared at him, eyes glistening, as if trying to decide whether this was real or just a dream she'd wake from. In that corner booth, between the smell of coffee and the sound of plates clattering in the kitchen, something shifted, the first ripple of a change neither of them could have predicted the night they first met. But what happens when the very reason LeBron came to Cleveland walks through that door? You're about to see. Meeting Dr. Elijah Rivera. The bell above the restaurant door jingled again, and Marianne instinctively glanced up. Her face lit with recognition. "Eli!" she called, waving over a tall young man in navy blue scrubs. He looked tired, but carried the unmistakable energy of someone who thrived in the middle of helping others. "Hey, Mom," Eli said, holding up a paper bag. "You left your lunch in the fridge again." His voice trailed off as he noticed the man sitting in the booth across from her. He blinked, stunned. "Wait, is that LeBron James?" LeBron smiled and stood, extending a hand. "You must be Dr. Rivera. I've been wanting to meet you for a long time." Eli looked from LeBron to his mother, confused. "What's going on?" Marianne gave a small laugh. "Believe it or not, LeBron and I go way back, to Ruby's Diner in Akron. That night," LeBron added, "your mom told me about a boy who wanted to be an engineer, and about how she was saving every tip she earned in a coffee tin so you could go to college. I never forgot that." Eli shook his head, clearly blindsided. "She mentioned a customer who was generous sometimes, but I didn't think it was you." An hour later, the three of them sat around the small kitchen table in Marianne's apartment. Between them sat the coffee tin, faded, dented in one spot, but still intact. Marianne ran her fingers over the lid as if it were a fragile treasure. "I kept it," she said softly, "even when it was empty. It reminded me what we were working for." LeBron leaned forward. "That tin represents more than just money. It's sacrifice, determination, love." He turned to Eli. "Your mom gave up everything to make sure you could stand where you are now. And I see you giving everything right back to serve your community." Eli exhaled slowly. "I've got a lot of debt from medical school. Mom's been hiding how bad her arthritis has gotten, so I wouldn't stress about it. I just can't seem to get ahead enough to help her and keep up with my work." LeBron reached into his bag and pulled out 2 envelopes, setting them on the table. "That's why I'm here." He pushed the first toward Eli. "This one wipes out your entire medical school debt. You can keep focusing on your patients without that weight on your back." Eli's eyes widened, his voice catching. "You're serious?" LeBron slid the second envelope toward Marianne. "And this covers your medical care for life, plus enough for you to stop working and actually live. No more double shifts." Marianne covered her mouth, tears already slipping down her cheeks. "But that's not all," LeBron continued. "I'm starting the Marianne Rivera Scholarship Fund for first-generation medical students. Kids like Eli who want to serve their communities. Your coffee tin started something powerful, and I want the world to know about it." For a moment, no one spoke. Then Marianne reached across the table, placing her hand over LeBron's. "You don't know what this means," she whispered. LeBron smiled. "I think I do." The tin becomes a movement. 2 days after their kitchen table conversation, LeBron met Marianne and Eli back at Harper's Family Grill. This time, he wasn't there for a quiet talk. He had a proposal that would take the story of the coffee tin far beyond one family. He set the dented, faded tin on the counter near the register. "This," he said, tapping the lid, "isn't just a piece of your past. It's going to be the start of something bigger." Marianne tilted her head. "Bigger how?" "I want to keep it right here," LeBron explained. "Somewhere customers can see it. They drop in their change, their tips, whatever they can spare. And for every single dollar that goes in, my foundation will match it 10 to 1. We'll use that money to create college funds for kids in this neighborhood, kids whose parents are working just as hard as you did." Eli's eyebrows rose. "You mean anyone could contribute?" "Exactly," LeBron said. "This tin belongs to the community now. And every coin, every crumpled bill will be an investment in someone's future." Word spread quickly. Regular customers began slipping bills into the tin with their breakfast orders. Families stopped by just to contribute. A group of high school students held a car wash, handing the earnings to Marianne with wide smiles. In just 3 months, the coffee tin overflowed again and again. By the time the donations were counted and multiplied by LeBron's match, the total had climbed into the tens of thousands. Enough to start multiple college savings accounts for local kids, but LeBron wasn't done. One evening, after tallying the latest contributions, he looked at Marianne and Eli. "I've been thinking, we can do more than college funds. We can create a place that helps kids and takes care of families." That's when he unveiled his plan for the Rivera Community Health and Learning Center, a facility offering free medical care for families in need, tutoring programs, college prep workshops, and scholarships. Marianne's eyes welled with tears. "All from a coffee tin?" she whispered. LeBron smiled. "All from a mother who refused to give up on her child's dream. But could one woman's sacrifice truly transform an entire city? You're about to see for yourself. One woman's sacrifice, a city's inspiration." The grand opening of the Rivera Community Health and Learning Center was nothing short of a celebration. Bright banners stretched across the entrance, local news crews set up their cameras, and a crowd of neighbors filled the street. Inside, the air buzzed with excitement and pride. Eli stood at the front in his white coat, the new head physician ready to lead a clinic that would serve anyone, regardless of their ability to pay. Marianne, wearing a simple navy dress and her ever-present warm smile, stood beside a table where the first scholarship applications were neatly stacked, the start of a program she would oversee personally. When it was LeBron's turn to speak, the crowd hushed. "This all began with one woman," he said, glancing toward Marianne. "She didn't have much, but she gave everything she had to make her son's dream come true. And now, that same spirit is giving dreams to an entire city." In the lobby, beneath bright lights, the old coffee tin sat inside a glass case. Around it were framed photos of scholarship recipients, the first of many, alongside thank you notes from families whose lives had already been changed. The story spread quickly. Newspapers across Ohio covered it. Soon, community centers in other cities began placing their own dream tins in diners, schools, and coffee shops, each matched by LeBron's foundation. The ripple effect was undeniable. Marianne watched from the side, humbled by it all. The tin she once guarded on a kitchen shelf had become a symbol, proof that one mother's quiet, determined sacrifice could ignite a movement. And for the first time in years, she didn't just see her son's future secured. She saw a city's future, brighter, stronger, and full of possibility. So, do you think a mother's humble coffee tin could spark a movement that transformed an entire city? We'd like to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.